What's up, you guys, and welcome to the official podcast of Damian Talks Education. So listen up. I am here to talk about all things education on my podcast. So get prepared for some realness and honesty of education as I walk you down through various of topics that's happening in the education world with some amazing guests, to sharing stories relating to education and so much more, because I got you covered with education. So join me on this journey of education with me. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Damian Talks Education. And happy Friday! Woo, woo. We have made it, you guys. We have made it through the week. Yes. So, let me just get comfortable here in my chair because it has been a while since I have sat down with all of you guys discussing and speaking with all of you guys about education. So it has been a while. So let me just get comfy in here. And let's get started, shall we? So today's topic, you guys, is in schools, finding hope at a hopeless time. So that is the topic that I'll be discussing with you all today, because especially during this time, you guys, we are still in this pandemic and we do not know when this all gonna be over with, but it will be over with, you guys, very soon. And I cannot wait until that day where, we could stop wearing the mask, we could hug people, do all, back to our normal used to lives that we used to be, somewhere along that line. But let's hop right into this, you guys, shall we? So I have found out that research shows that hope is a measurable, learnable skill, and to feel hopeful, students and teachers have to work at it. Okay, you have to work at it, students and teachers. So I'm gonna tell you guys like a little story here, dwelling with this topic here. So this was back, you guys, in mid-February. 3 snowstorms, it had knocked out the electricity for thousands of residents in Boyle County, Kentucky. Now, as they waited for up to 2 weeks for the lights to come back on, many residents, they were left snowbound in their homes in freezing temperatures. Now, nobody don't like that. Nobody likes that. I cannot stand, temperatures be at low level, freezing level. And besides, I'm a cold person. I'm cold all the time. Like as I'm recording this, I'm cold. That's why, you guys, I be wearing, these types of stuff. But besides the point, nobody likes that freezing temperatures. So 2 people unfortunately died from hypothermia before the power was restored, which is tragic, you guys, very tragic. Now, the outrage added insult to injury for a rural community who was struggling to keep students connected and engaged in remote learning for the past year. So yeah. So this, you guys, right here, with limited cell phone battery, this is just tragic. It's just ridiculous. Very, very ridiculous. So let me dive on into this, you guys, here. So while the pandemic schooling has always been very hard, which it's still hard now because we're still in this, it seems to get harder as time has gone on, said Sydney Ford here, and other educators. Now, who are desperately looking for ways, to help students stay motivated. That's what we're all trying to do, you guys, especially during this pandemic, because our students, they need us, right? So teachers have reported that students increasingly see schools as irrelevant, and feel a sense of hopelessness about the future. Yeah, this is very true, you guys, very true. Now, even with, vaccinations, which is going on right now, and schools opening, increasing. Well, as the time, I'm recording this episode, schools are about to, um, about to be closed, for the summer. And then, we'll start back up into the fall with who knows, how that's going to be like, once because we're the vaccinations is pretty going on right now and everyone's trying to, get it as possible, when it's their time to get it available. So yeah, and then speaking on vaccinations, let me just speak on my behalf because we did an episode of this, and when I'm talking about we, I'm talking about my co-host off of Future Educators Talk. Um, this season, on season 5, um, and where we had talked about, the, keying the vaccinations and stuff. And then two of my co-hosts, they have already gotten the vaccination. And then I remember, telling them that at that time, as we was recording that episode, that was probably like a it was probably almost like 2 months ago now. But I was telling them that I will not begin the vaccination because and lots with all of you guys, I don't feel comfortable just yet. Like, I know that, I have a job, I go to work, with my children, I do all this. But for me, I just don't feel safe of getting the vaccination because, as I explained to them, who knows how I'm going to feel, once I get it because I had COVID before and I don't want to have it again. And luckily, no one hasn't, died from the vaccinations, which is good. But I don't know how I will feel if I do get because you have all these symptoms with it. You have some people have sore arms. They have all these other kinds of symptoms, and I basically don't want to have it because if I do take the shot, I don't know how I'm going to feel about it because I have so many things, problems with me. First off, I got asthma, I got bronchitis, I have all these other things that's wrong with me. And I don't know, would this affect with any of that? Who knows? I don't know. So that's what I was saying back then to my co-host. But now, recently, um, and I've been thinking about this, that I'm not for sure just yet, I'm considering getting the vaccination. And here's why, because I want to keep, you know, my other families, the people that live with me, my other family members and the people around me, I want to keep them safe. So me, I'm doing my part. I am doing my part of keeping myself, my family member that lives with me, that I live with, and other people of keeping them safe. So I'm considering of getting it. I don't know just yet, but I will keep you guys updated. And maybe I will, well, I probably won't. So let me just not just say that because I don't know, I may um, now let me just go on. Let me just go ahead, you guys. Let me just go ahead. So back to the topic here. Um, as I said, even with the vaccinations going on and schools opening increasing, there are reported upticks in youth depression. Oh my goodness! Yes, yes, yes. Anxiety and even suicide attempts. Now, I did talk about these types of things, you guys, last season. Well, not last season, back in season 1, actually, of this show here, where I talk about, um, depression. I don't know what I said, teen suicide, and also with anxiety. So check out those episodes, you guys, to hear my thoughts of those there. But yeah, and many teachers too, you guys, they share a deepening sense of disillusion. They're just it's just overwhelming for all of us, you guys. Let me just say that it's just overwhelming for all of us. Now, so what can educators do to instill hope in their students, especially when many feel hopeless themselves. Okay. So, according to many research studies that I have found, you guys, people who are hopeful are not simply optimistic, or they just don't know because they are able to think proactively about the future and plan ahead to get there. So, and also research shows that hope is a learnable, like I said earlier, a learnable, measurable skill, and one that has a citable impact on students' success and persistence in school. Now, children who are hopeful are also found in, to have higher self-esteem and social skills, and they are more likely to set and achieve goals for themselves. That's what I like about that. And can move a more easily bound from, of what they're doing. So this is good. This is good. This is good. This is good. This is good here. Now, I just want to point this out here, you guys, before I get down into this topic here of how, we could, feel, you know, making our students and teachers feel better during this time. So, according to some researchers and psych, I can never say this word here. According to some research, according to some researchers and phys- physical logics, you guys know what I'm trying to say here. Um, Small shifts in curriculums, assignments, and tasks can actually have an effect on how students see themselves and their world around them. Now, by making some adjustments and bringing new activities, teachers can mitigate some of the hopelessness students feel, and in turn, make themselves feel more hopeful too, as well, because we want teachers to feel hopeful as well. So let's get into our first bulletin point, which is don't sweep it under the rug. All right. Now, to feel more hopeful, address the elephant in the room. Okay. So make sure you do that first. Now, both children and adults should acknowledge and address the turmoil they have experienced this past year. Well, actually, this past year and also with this year as well. Said Mr. David Scoenfield, who is a director of the National Centers for Schools Crisis and Betterment at a children's hospital at a children's hospital Los Angeles, which works with schools after crisis like school shootings. Let me just pause right here, you guys, because I cannot speak on this Friday. So let me just relax, relax, relax. All right, let's start back. Now, not long after 9/11, you guys, Mr. David said one of his daughters came home from school feeling frustrated. And they said this they haven't talked at all about what happened on 9/11. Um, Now, right now, we're learning about the War of 1812. Can you think of any way school could be less relevant to my life right now? Now, while learning about the War of 1812, which is important, you guys, neglecting to discuss current relatives can make students feel that school is out of touch and push them to disengage. Now, that's not to say educators should turn every class into a counseling session, but they should try to carve out time for students to share how they feel. Yes, because we want our students to express themselves. Am I right? We want our students to express themselves. So be careful not to minimize their feelings by making them feel guilty for being upset about something that pales in comparison to someone else's tragedy. Mm, that's a good point. That's a good point right there. Now, instead, what you guys should do is coach students to focus on one or two things that are troubling them, okay? A roadblock. Now, for example, That was for example, and address those, problems step by step by step. Okay. Um, so yeah, do that, do that, do that. Okay. Um, so yeah, going on to step two, my second bulletin point, you guys. I cannot speak on today. I apologize, you guys. So moving on to our second bulletin point is to share success stories, because I know during this time, you guys, where every time, you turn on the news or, you try to watch something, it's related to COVID-19. And we're just, with me, I'm gonna speak on me. And of course, with all you guys, I am sick of hearing COVID. I'm sick of hearing the vaccinations. I'm sick of hearing, all this, bad things, happening. I want to hear some good stuff, some good stories, because there are some good stories happening, you guys, during this global pandemic. So share success stories. Now, once children get some of their concerns off of their chests, okay, educators can focus their thinking forward with hope. Now, in lessons, integrate stories of people who have overcome tremendous hardships or failed repeatedly and then succeeded. Okay, and now this is what experts recommended. And making sure that all of our students in class can see their backgrounds reflected in the examples. That's what I'm talking about right there. That's what I'm talking about right there. Our third bullet point is, of course, making history, because this right here, this pandemic, this is history. We're going to reflect back onto this, like with my generation. We're going to reflect back onto this pandemic of how, it have shaped our entire world forever. So we will look back onto this here. Now, teachers might also consider helping students frame some current experience as a moment in time and one that will pass, just like this pandemic here. It will pass, it will pass soon enough. Eventually, it will. Now, bring in examples of other past global crises or academics. Um, so do that there. Now, as a supplement, students can create time capsules or write letters to their future selves, which is good, about their experience, what progress they have made, and what they will see ahead of them in the near future, which is great. So do that for your students, you guys. All right. Moving on to our next bullet point, which is a mindset shift. Now, when educators and students have the right frame of reference, educators can prime their brains to be more helpful, according to one study that I found. Now, C.R. Rick Signer, a well-known researcher of hope, found that students who score higher on measures of hope had more adjacencies to develop goals and set pathways to accomplish them, including finding alternate strategies if they had setbacks along the way. Next, ask the right questions. Now, a good starting place for teachers is regularly integrating specific questions prompts into classroom activities that many already conducted, like morning meetings or entries or exit tickets, which I love exit tickets, you guys. Back in school, I used to love those, feedback of, what I have learned. But anyways, do that. Ask the right questions. Ask the right questions. Now, this is Miss Lawrenson, who is a former teacher who has studied hope for the last 2 decades, recommends having students answer the prompt, which is this: today, I hope whatever, as a verbal or written response daily, so every single day. Now, if possible, students, they can also journal about things they are hopeful and thankful for, or complete a broader exercise for them in which they reflect on their past success. or times that they overcame many obstacles in their lives. All right. Next, you have is set goals with accountability. Now, these prompts can develop more into a more comprehensive activities where students and teachers work together. Don't you just love that work together? Work together. We all need to come together and work together. But besides that, they all need to come together and work together to tie a student's whole to a specific goal. Now, to make the goals manageable, teachers should help students prioritize and break them into smaller target chunks of their goals or stepping stone, along with a plan B in mind, because sometimes you guys plan A may not go as you wanted to, so you always need to have a plan B, a plan C, D, just a backup plan, and for your life as well. So yeah, so most importantly, the goals should be prioritized, personalized to the child for themselves, not someone else goes for them. So it should be their goals, not another student goals. It should be their goals because it is personalized to them. Okay, it should not be no one else goes. So yeah. And then finishing up with this here, while hopes and goals are closely related, a framing of hope sets a different tone and one that may help students, especially those who are discouraged, okay, to think, frustratedly, okay, they, feel frustrated at times, right? And we don't want our students to feel frustrated at times. We want to uplift them up to become the better version of themselves. Um, so there is a simple but powerful shift in the language when we move from goals to hope, says Ms. Lawrenson. Now, it's possible to fail at a goal, but you can't fail at a hope. Start with hope first. I love that there. Let me read this again because I was kind of stumbling through here. I love that there. And listen to this again. It's possible to fail at a goal, but you can't fail at a hope. Start with hope first. Let me just marinate all of that in. You guys just take a deep breath in and just take that all in because that was some good stuff there, right? Wow. Next, opportunities for impact. Now, it can be a challenge at first. However, to think about the future amid so much instability and uncertainty. Now, in a classroom, teachers can help combat the feelings of powerlessness by giving students, opportunities where they regain a sense of control. Now, this in turn makes them feel more hopeful, right? According to a research, a study of adolescents ages 14 up to 18. Now, these can be, small things. It doesn't have to be a whole big wide chunk. Just, make it small. Like the ability to choose activities to complete, or opportunity to share passions and interests, or having a second chance to improve. All right, let's move right along, you guys. Now, I just came across this here, and I wish I could show you guys this here. But Hope Collage and Vision Boards, virtual or handmade, can remind students of things that make them feel hopeful. And I'm looking at this, this collage here where it has, what students feel very hopeful about. I'm seeing, animals on here. I'm seeing, sports, family, colleges, their future plans. I'm seeing it all on here. So if this is a good way, to make students feel very hopeful about themselves. Yes. And then move around along to connect students to students. Connect students to students. Educators should also consider larger impacts that students can have right now. And one educator recommends helping children see themselves as change makers by sharing stories of children who have made a difference, even if the impact was small. Okay, it doesn't always have to be large, you guys. Okay, it doesn't have to be large. All right. So consider pairing older students with younger students together or buddies within a class. And this educator also said that so that students can quickly see results from the small things they do that affect others. That's good. So connect students to students. I think that's a good way, again, with that relationship with another student to another student, also with older kids and with younger kids, seeing the things, because of course, there will be, some difference, but if they come together, they may see, like, hey, I like this, would you like, sharing things together with them. And then lastly, what I have you guys is create community projects. Now, because hope is driven by the individuals, children should be given a chance to brainstorm their own ideas for making an impact. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Now, according to one research, having hope for others can have a significant effect on how much hope people feel themselves, especially for children. Now, in Amy Bagger's class, in a middle school class, students present ideas for how to bring hope to their communities. Now, the class then votes on a proposal and picks one to take on, including developing action to that plan together of how to achieve it. Great, great, great. Now, it's also normal for a person's hope to ebb and flow on, especially in tough times, especially now. So, Miss Lawrenson, again, she suggests that as teachers try to stay steadfast at the helm of things, they find tiny sparks or hits of hope, like reminding themselves of all the time they impacted kids and didn't realize it until later on. Now, one of the biggest ways to bring hope to children is through their relationships with supported adults. I'm going to stop right there because that's what I've been trying to say. Well, not on here, but that's what I've been trying to say all along is that building relationship. I can't tell you guys, educators, how important that is of building relationships with your students because building relationships with your students, that is the key. Relationship is key. Relationship is key. So have that bond with your students. Okay. So that is it. All of the information, all the key facts. And I hope you guys, educators, and of course students who will watch this or does watch this, I hope you took something out of this here. You learned something out of this here. Um, so I just want to again thank you guys all. Like I said, it's been a while of me sitting down here and talking with all of you guys of what I am passionate about and what I'm seeing, around the world. So I'm back in my chair, you guys, speaking with all of you this season. And then, of course, you guys, I have some guest co hosts who will be joining me for this season as well. So stay tuned for future episodes of that. And I just want to thank you all again for joining me. And make sure you follow me on my social media platforms. They are down in the description down below, or as you can see on the screen. If you're watching this on YouTube, and I really thank you guys so much. And I'll see you guys next time on Damian Talks Education. So until then, you guys, take care of yourself and be blessed.